Too.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing on tonight? I am super duper excited because I am hanging out with award-winning author Stacy Hawkins Adams. And guys, let me just tell you, yes, I am totally fangirling already over this amazing, amazing author as well. And guys, we are here tonight because literally hot off the press is her new release, guys. It's a poem. It's called The Pivot. And she's going to spill a little bit of tea about this amazing book, and she's holding it up as well. We will definitely be sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of this amazing, amazing book as well. I'm just super duper excited about it. And Stacy, they are coming on in. We have Caitlin that is hanging out with us. Caitlin, thank you for joining us on today. As well, we have Mama Tony of Mama Tony's Book Nook, Tony Benita, hanging out with us today as well. We have Myra Cook hanging out with us on today as well. And guys, you already know what to do. There's Veronica Lockett coming on in. Happy Thursday, Veronica. Thank you for joining us. You guys already know what to do. Like, tag, and share. Tell a friend to come on down to the cafe because we are hanging out with the author, Stacy Hawkins Adams. And guys, this is the author of Watercolored Pearls as well. And of course, we'll be sharing how you can get some books from her backlist as well. So, Stacy, welcome to the cafe, my friend. And I'm going to allow you the opportunity to introduce yourself to the people.
Wow. Thank you for having me, Angela. I am so honored to be here with you on your literary cafe. Have followed you for many years and admired your work and your enthusiasm for the literary world. So thank you for all your support. And hello, ladies and gentlemen, if you're here as well. Thank you for joining us this evening. As she said, I'm Stacy Hawkins Adams. I'm a multi-published author. I have written 9 women's fiction novels, 2 nonfiction books, and my first ever poem is like a chapbook because it's like one poem in book form. Tiny little book here, but very meaningful. So excited to share with you. I've been, published for almost 20 years. Next year will be 20 years. I'm working on another novel. I've been working on this novel for a few years, but in the process of that, this poem was born. So there you have it.
I love that. I love that. And guys, like I said, we will definitely be sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of this poem. It's called The Pivot. Now, Stacy, we gotta get into it. Now, I want to ask you about this because a lot of times individuals will describe you as an author or your work, but you write books where you use your words to enlighten, uplift, and to inspire. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. So I use that sort of as a tagline or maybe an example of the kind of writing I do because I'm also a former journalist. So although in childhood I discovered writing, I'm one of those folks. I was one of those young people who knew at an early age that writing was my passion. So I always wanted to write novels and books, but I kind of segued into a full-time career as a newspaper reporter. And so I was a journalist full-time for 15 years. And that's where the enlightening part comes from, because whether I was covering an investigative story, courts and crime, writing about social issues, which was my passion, or an inspirational column. I wrote an inspirational column once a week for a daily newspaper for 6 years. And then when I
Oh,
retired from being a newspaper reporter, I wrote a parenting column for 10 years. So that's the
oh,
enlightening part of it. So yeah, so enlightening, uplifting, that's given the hope.
wow.
I did that
I
through the
love
inspirational
that.
column. Thank you. I did that through the inspirational column. I did that through some of my reporting. When I was a journalist, I did a 3-year series on people working their way off of welfare. And so that was at a time when welfare was being reformed and everyone was like, oh, they just need to go to work. But it talked about these individual people and the various issues that humanize them. Like there was one lady, she was not just overweight, she weighed like 400 pounds and could not work for health issues. So the social services department paid for her to get gastric bypass surgery, and then she got healthy enough to start her own cleaning firm. There was another young lady who was a mother of 4 doing her very best to become independent, but every time she earned more money, then she had to pay for
Wow.
childcare, so she couldn't balance it out. So that's kind of the uplifting part. And then inspiration, like that's everything I do, whether it's journalistic, whether it's fiction, whether it's writing a social media post. My goal is to leave people better than I find them, and that's whether it's through my writing or my speaking or even something that I've shared on social media.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. As you guys can see, Stacy Hawkins Adams, she is spilling a little bit of tea about her writing as well. And I know you guys are ready. We're going to talk a little bit about her new poem that's hot off the press. It is called The Pivot. And Stacy, if you will hold it up so they can see it
Yes.
as well. But I want to talk a little bit about, let's talk about this cover.
Yes.
Was this, did this come to you and did you help design the cover? Tell us a little bit about the cover of The Pivot of this poem.
Yeah, so the pivot, like if you're a writer, many writers know when you're working on one project, you get the idea for 5 other projects. And so I was up one morning. I typically write at 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. in the morning. I was up really working on a chapter in my novel in progress in December 2021. And literally out of the blue, this poem just came to me. I just started writing it. The title came, the verses came. I do not consider myself a poet by any
Oh,
nature.
wow.
So it just flowed from me and it was so powerful. Like I really got emotional while I was writing it. And then I shared it with a few friends, male
Wow.
and female, and they got emotional and it made them think about their own journey through the pivot. So that pivot is, it touches a little bit on the pandemic because we were coming out of that. And so it touches on that. But as you see with the cover, there's a woman dancing. And I don't know if you can see this with my lighting,
Mm-hmm.
but she's holding a pair of shoes and they're not ballerina slippers. So there's a local artist here in Richmond, Virginia, where I live.
Uh-huh.
I've worked with her on multiple projects, Dawn Edge Campbell. And so I went to Dawn and I said, I want the cover to be a
Wow.
woman dancing because the verses, when I read it to your viewers today, it'll talk about how she danced and she pirouetted and she arched and she leaned and she bowed. Because isn't that what we as women do? Like we are going to navigate through whatever life gives us. But she's got these high heels because a lot of times we do it with our stilettos on. We do it. Sometimes we have to carry our heels like this woman is doing. And that was the vision that came to me that it needed to be a woman kind of dancing. I didn't want her on a dance floor. I wanted it to evoke life and hope, but show that she was being resilient. And so Dawn has like the green grass. She's got a little bit of the sunrise, and you can't see her face because I wanted every woman who reads this to see herself in the poem. And so, yeah, I kind of helped with the vision for
Wow.
it. But Dawn is the gifted artist who brought
Yeah.
it to life. And so that's how it happened.
Well, shout out to Dawn. Donna, thank you for this beautiful cover with this dancer on the cover as well. And Stacy, as you were describing the cover and telling us a little bit about this particular poem, I don't know about anybody else, but I definitely feel enlightened. I feel uplifted and I feel inspired. I love that. I love that as well. Now, I want to ask you this. Some of the words that individuals have described this poem, they call it soul stirring, powerful, and profound. What comes to mind when you hear those things to describe this amazing poem?
I mean, I'm humbled by that, but that's how I felt when I wrote it because, like I said, I don't really think of myself as a poet, and the way it flowed through me. And I probably will read the whole thing. We talked about an excerpt. We'll see how far I get into it. I may end up reading the whole poem to everyone tonight.
Okay.
And you'll understand what that means because as I'm reading it, even though it could feel like I'm talking about myself, I think it brings to mind whatever somebody is journeying through. So you can have your personal pandemic, your personal play. It could be, this is October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. There are women who are
Mm-hmm.
dancing and pirouetting and leaning and arching and bowing through, surviving cancer. It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It could be that. It could be some other health issue you're dealing with. It could be something with your family. It could be anything that you're living through. And so I think
Mm-hmm.
that's why people have called it profound. And that's what it feels like to me too, because I truly feel like I'm just a vessel for this poem. I feel like it's a poem for every woman. And I'm honored to be the vessel for it.
Yes, and that leads me into, I know I read somewhere when they talked about who this poem was penned for. And first of all, it's like you penned it for yourself, which is good. You penned it for me and other women that are out there as well, but basically women everywhere. What was that like when you was penning it? Did that come to your mind and say, hey, this is for me, this is for other women everywhere out there? What came to your mind to say this is who this poem is for, to reach?
No, I'm telling you, it literally flowed through me so quickly. It took me 30 minutes to an hour to like write it. And of course I went back and did a little tweak here and a little tweak there, but not much editing
Wow.
because it was one of those, it was like a download, as some people would say. And so when I wrote it, I wasn't even thinking about any of that. It was just flowing and I
I
was
love
letting it
that.
go. And then when I read it, I had that experience. Sometimes as a writer, like sometimes I've written novels, and when you're traditionally published, you will write a novel, you'll send it to your agent to send on to the publisher, and you typically don't see it again for about 6 months because they're over at the publisher's side figuring out the cover design, and they're doing the developmental edit, and they'll give you your edits back. And you see it about 6 months later. And so I've written novels where I've sent it off to the agent, it's gone to the publisher, and I get it back, and I'm like, wow, this is like blessing me. Like I wasn't expecting this. So as a writer, you're often the vehicle for. So I've had that experience sometimes with some fiction that I've written. But for it to happen with a poem, I read it back and I was like, oh my gosh, this means so much about the pandemic, but about so many other things. And as I shared it with other people and saw their literal reactions to it and their tears, and you saw them kind of like just going into the recesses of their mind. I recited it about a week ago at an event, and I could just tell in the room there were women having their own experience with it. So it really is like I just truly feel like I'm the vessel. Like I'm taking credit because it came through me, but I really feel like I don't know if I'll ever write another poem. Maybe I will, but this one really was something that I feel like I was meant to birth.
Wow. I love that. I love that. And if you guys are just tuning in, we are hanging out with author Stacy Hawkins Adams on today, guys. And her new release is a poem. It's called The Pivot. We are talking about that on today. So if you have a question or two for Stacy about the poem writing process or about, the book or what have you, yes, she's going to read the poem, but she may even read the whole thing. Who knows? She may surprise us as well. But you will hear The Pivot in just a moment. But if you have a question or two, I definitely put it in the comment section. I will be sure to include you as well. Now, Stacy, I want to ask you this about this particular poem. And as you were saying that you recently read it at an event where you spoke at recently or what have you, you can kind of just feel in the atmosphere them receiving this particular poem or what have you. But when you think about this poem and what was poured into it or poured out of you as being a vessel or what have you, what do you want others to take away from this poem when they read it?
That's a great question. I will say, as I mentioned earlier on, I wrote it in December of 2021 and thought it was powerful, really thought it was about the pandemic. And I spent most of 2022 dealing with migraines every day. I kind of went into this phase of dealing with health issues. And every day, literally from January to May of 2022, until we were able to kind of get my medication to level up, I literally had a headache every single day. And going through that process and some of the diagnosis related to that and just figuring everything out, it was a challenge because I wasn't able to write. I've been trying to work on a novel because, I could make it through my workday. I have a full-time job. I was able to make it through that, but then I wasn't able to write in the mornings or evenings as usual. I wasn't able to read as much as I would like to. It sent me into this season of what my spiritual leader, my pastor, called a holy pause because I had to just like rest and be still. I could listen to podcasts. I could listen to sermons on YouTube. I did a lot of that, but I wasn't able to be that writer that I am used to being, that I've been since I was literally 5 years old. So there was just a lot of quiet time, reflection, prayer, couldn't really journal, just being present with myself and listening. And I wasn't even thinking about the poem during that season. I literally wasn't thinking about it because I wasn't writing. But as I began to feel better, I was planning a special event, which I held about a year ago this time. It was an inspirational brunch called Celebrating the Power of Women's Stories. And I was inviting my guests. I had 4 female speakers. I was inviting them, including Bernadette Stannis, Thelma from Good Times. So I was inviting them to stand on stage and share a personal story of their own, to be vulnerable. I was like, wow, okay, I got to get up here and share my story. I've got to talk about this journey that I've been through. Like I'm supposed to be standing up here talking about this novel's coming out, but the novel's not happening because I wasn't able to write. As I thought about that, I went back into my documents, into my files, and I remembered I had written this poem called The Pivot. And so I decided to end that keynote message with The Pivot. And as I stood on stage and I shared my story and I ended it with this poem and then I will say, when I remembered the poem, I had a couple of friends who were planning this event with me, and I pulled it out and I read it to them and I said, I think I'm going to end my speech with this. What do you think? and they both had like a powerful reaction to it. And so I knew, okay, there's something about this. So I read it from the stage, and there were women coming up to me afterwards saying, I need this. I need a copy of this. This is so healing to me. This is so helpful. I just feel seen. I feel like I can make it through. And it was powerful. I've heard that with my fiction before. I've heard that with my nonfiction books, but for this poem to evoke that, I knew I needed to do something with it. And here we are a year later. It took a while to kind of figure out what that was going to look like. Was it going to be just a framed copy of the poem? Was I going to do something online? And I really took the time to like work with Dawn to come up with the cover, to figure out like the inside. If you look at it, it's, you know, it's got a little design element to it, because I wanted I don't know if your viewers can see this with my lighting, but I wanted there to be a full experience with, you know, even just the pages of the poem. And so it's not,
Wow.
you know, on the platform that we would normally put everything on, owned by Jeff. I'll say that. I don't have it out there yet for a quick turnaround, because I wanted to do it in a special way. So like right now, you can only get it through my website, and I'm signing each copy and sending them out. And so we may change that method, but for now, I really wanted to just be a special experience for everyone who orders it.
Wow. Well, I feel special already. Or what have you. And guys, we will definitely be sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of The Pivot. I'm super duper excited about it, and so proud of Stacy Hawkins Adams. And Stacy, with that, my friend, I'm ready. I know they're ready. We are ready to hear The Pivot. So I'll let you introduce it, which I feel like you just did, telling us about it. But we are ready to hear The Pivot, my friend.
Okay, I'm going to read from the pivot. I might make it through the whole thing. We'll see. But I
Okay.
will say, as I read it, think about yourself. Think about your journey. Think about whatever comes up for you. Let yourself have an experience with it, because that's the goal of the pivot. All right. She swayed. She pirouetted. She arched. She leaned. She bowed. She was all things to all people, and had been forever, without pause, without reason, without question. And then came a plague. It stalled and eventually stopped her perpetual performances and curtain calls. It silenced her deafening busyness. It killed people she knew or knew of, and many she had never met. It choked her already submerged hopes and dreams. It splintered her heart until one day she woke up and decided to pivot and discover what this season of darkness could teach her. She chose to flow with the unwelcome wind rather than resist it, to stare into the chasm of fear rather than shield her eyes. She arched, she leaned, she bowed. She broke open and taught herself a new way to dance, with the truth, through the pain, around the obstacles. She watched others show up for others and slow down for themselves. And she scraped together enough mindfulness and curiosity about what could be to do the same. She pivoted towards something daring, vulnerability, humble strength, and wholeness, toward being seen in her skin and her womanhood and in her richness of heritage. She pivoted toward greater hope and deeper love and courageous letting go, softened by tender goodbyes. She pivoted toward the mirror day after day after day, speaking with clarity and with compassion into the tentative eyes staring back at her, and consistently declared, I see you. I will honor you. So I'll stop there. I won't read all of it, but that's 75% of it. That's most of it.
Look, Stacy, I feel like we need to, we need to snap. We was at the poetry bar. I love that. That is beautiful. Oh my goodness, guys. You have just heard. She just read some of it, okay? But there is more of this amazing, beautiful poem. And I definitely see why they call it soul stirring and powerful and profound. And guys, hold on to your horses. We will definitely be sharing with you how you can order a copy of The Pivot. And as Stacy said, there is a special website just for this amazing, beautiful poem. It will be autographed by Stacy Hawkins Adams as well for you. So we'll be sharing how you can get your hands on a copy of this as well. They are giving you love, Stacy.
you.
I definitely want you to see this. Myra Cook said that it is beautiful. Letitia, she said it's so powerful and thought provoking. Thank you as well. Veronica Lockett said great snippet. And then Midnight, she is sharing as well. She said, let's see, it should be coming up. Sounds like she describes a phenomenal woman. I love that. I love that. And again, they are giving you love in the comment section for this amazing, amazing poem. So guys, we will be sharing with you. So just hold tight. We'll be sharing with you how you can get a hand on a copy of this. And not only that, guys, guess what? It's holiday season time. This will make a great gift. So when you buy one for yourself, buy one for a friend as well. Or there may be another phenomenal woman that you want to share this poem with as well. So you may buy 2 or 3 as well. And I know that Stacy Hawkins Adams would be so appreciative of that, of us helping her to get the word out about this amazing, beautiful, profound poem. Stacy, thank you for sharing. I'm definitely agreeing with them in the comment section as well. It was beautiful, and you could just feel the very essence of it as you was reading that poem to us. Now, Stacy, okay, my friend, we have to play a round of this or that.
Okay.
I promise you, there is no right or wrong answer. It is all things according to Stacy Hawkins Adams. Are you ready, my friend?
I think so.
Okay, let's get started. Okay, fall or spring?
Spring for sure.
Okay.
My name Stacy means of the springtime, so that's what I love.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Next
and also my book, when you get it, before you
apple cinnamon.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, when you get my book, it'll say Spring.
Go ahead.
It'll say Spring Rock Publishing. That's the name of my publishing company, Spring Rock Publishing.
I love that. She spilled a little bit of tea. I love that. Okay, Stacy, pumpkin spice or apple cinnamon, my friend?
I'm gonna go with apples. I like pumpkins just because I like the pumpkin season, but apple spice.
Okay. I love it. Countryside or the city?
Ooh, I'm from Arkansas, so I'm a country girl, but I'm city country. So let me think. I'm gonna say I love them both because I do both because I like being out in nature. I love walking through nature. I love the mountains.
Look, Stacey, it is all things according to you. So if you country city or city country, have at it. I love it.
We're gonna say country city because then I love the city. I like being in the city and the flow. You can go to plays. You can like have the all night like ice cream or cheesecake and all that stuff. Like I'm thinking New York or Vegas or whatever. So we're gonna say city country.
Right. Okay, I love that. City country. I love that. Okay, Stacy, podcast or audiobook?
Oh, you have some hard questions because I love them both. I think I'm going to say podcast because you have the opportunity to just listen, but many podcasts these days, you also have the opportunity to see it on YouTube or some other platform.
Okay.
So you can actually see the conversation happening. So I think I'm going to go with podcast.
Okay, Stacy, airplane ride or a good old road trip?
Airplane. Because like I said, I'm from Arkansas and I live in Virginia, and I have taken many an 18-hour drive home. I'm too old for that now, so I'll take the plane.
Okay, now Stacy, last one. We have to know this one for the cafe, my friend. Are you team tea or are you team coffee?
I'm team tea all day and night. So when I leave here, I will wrap up with my decaf tea in my blanket before I go to sleep. But I do tea throughout the day, so I'm team tea all day.
I love that. Thank you so much, Stacy, for doing a round of this or that. It was so fun playing this or that with you on today as well. Now, Stacy, I want you to answer this question for us. What is something that, because you've been writing for a long time, but what is something that most readers don't know about you?
Oh, that's a good question. What is something most readers don't know? I will say, I think if you follow me on social media, or even if you read my books, I do write faith-based inspirational fiction. And I typically say inspirational versus faith-based because I know that my ministry as a writer is to often speak to people who are either running from faith or struggling with faith. So I purposely have not put that label on it, because when they get to the book and they experience it, that's where like the ministry happens. So I typically say inspirational author, but I am an inspirational person. I'm a
Mm.
glass half full person. And so I think you see that if you are with me on social media or if you read my work. So I think what people would be surprised to know is how silly I can be. So like my closest friends will tell you I can just be silly and
Oh,
fun and funny. And I think I may come across more serious on my social media, but yeah, I can be really silly. They got some funny stories about me.
I love that. Ooh, okay. Look, I might have to inquire to get some tea. I love that. I love that as well. No, Stacy, I'm going to ask you this one and then we'll go into the giveaway because I know they are wanting to know what the giveaway is going to be on today. But I want to find out, and you kind of shared a little bit, but when you think about this poem that was birthed, and that you were a vessel for it, and it seemed like you were the one that was supposed to write it. What did you enjoy about writing it? And I heard you talk earlier. You were saying how it almost came like at ease, like it was just kind of just pouring through you,
Right.
and then you was just letting it out.
Yeah.
But what did you enjoy about that experience?
Gosh, I think probably the ease of it, because if I a lot of times when you're writing, especially if you're a new writer, you get in your head about things and you're like, oh, that didn't sound right, and is that going what's the reader gonna think? So, and I've written many books now, so I still somewhat do that. And I think what I enjoyed the most about this is that as I was writing it, I was experiencing it. I was like, yeah, she pirouetted, and what does that mean? And I might pause and look that up, or I want to have her lean and I want her to arch, and it's about the pandemic, but it's not about the pandemic. So, okay, we're talking about the pandemic, but how do I make it bigger than that? So I was like almost having a conversation with myself while it was flowing. So I really enjoyed that process of it was downloading, it was flowing, but I was also kind of thinking through, this is about the pandemic, but it's really bigger than that. It's really about what a woman is going through. And I had dealt with some loss in 2021. So I thought, okay, it's a little bit about that. But then, like I said, in 2022, I went into this whole other experience. So it really was like a foreshadowing. When I picked it up later, I realized this is just an embodiment of what anybody's going through, what women are going through in particular. So I think I just enjoyed that it was an easy creation, like a co-creation process. Like it was flowing, and then I would pause and ask a question or figure out, like look up a word, because I do that a lot as I'm writing. I'll have a word and I'll look up the definition to make sure it's what I want to say. So I just enjoyed the ease of that co-creation process with myself. So
Wow. I love that. I love that. Guys, if you are just joining us, we are hanging out with Stacy Hawkins Adams, guys. Her new release is a poem. It's called The Pivot. Let me just tell you, we are super duper excited, and we're celebrating with Stacy as well. And we will be sharing in just a moment how you can get your hands on a copy of The Pivot. And I promise you that when you place your order, more than likely you're going to probably buy a couple, because you're going to want to share it with someone else as well. And Stacy, of course, we have a giveaway. I'm going to allow you, my friend, to tell them what the giveaway is going to be on tonight.
well, the giveaway will be actually 2 copies of this. So your lucky winner will receive 2 copies of the Pivot. And I'm purposely doing that because as you see, it's kind of small. That was intentional as well. I wanted it to be something that you could carry with you if you needed to put it in your purse or your bag and you need to pull it out for a moment of inspiration. So your lucky winner will receive 2 copies. So she will have one for herself, and she can gift it to someone that she knows, the second copy to someone that she feels will be
Wow.
blessed by it, and then they can experience it together. So that's the giveaway, 2 copies of the Pivot.
What, Stacy, I'm loving this giveaway. Oh my, okay. Cafe watchers and viewers, did you hear that? The giveaway is tonight is not 1, but 2 copies of The Pivot. And guess what? You got an assignment. Once you receive it, you can't hoard it. You got to share it to a special someone that you feel that will be blessed and inspired by this amazing, amazing story or poem, The Pivot. I love that. Okay, Stacy, I'm gonna need your help. Okay, I'm
Yes.
so excited. I am so excited for all of you. Okay, so I'm going to go up and down the comment section, Stacy, and you're going to tell me when to stop. And that person
Okay.
is going to be a winner of 2 copies of The Pivot, 1 for themselves and 1 to share. All right. I love it. I'm ready when you are.
All right, drum roll, fingertip roll. Are you scrolling now? All right,
I'm scrolling.
let's stop.
Okay. Midnight Ace, a book bar. You're it. You're the person. Inbox me your information. I will definitely get that over to Stacy and Midnight. I know that Midnight is going to share this with a special person
Congratulations.
in her life as well that will benefit from this amazing poem, The Pivot, as well. So congratulations, Midnight. We are so excited for you as well. And now for the moment that you guys have been waiting for. Stacy, share with us, how can we get our hands on a copy of this beautiful, profound, powerful poem, The Pivot?
Thank you. Well, they can always go to my website, stacyhawkinsadams.com. You'll find it there on the home page and on the books page. So please visit my website, stacyhawkinsadams.com. And if you want to go directly to the site to buy the book, it's thepivotshop.com. So either stacyhawkinsadams.com or thepivotshop.com.
And we will put this information in the comment section so you can go to Stacy's website. With stacyhawkinsadams.com, and then you can also go to give us the pivotshop.com, or I want to make sure I give them the right one.
Yes, it's right now the first offering, but I will be having other product lines,
and I'll put that in the comment section. Okay, and I am putting that in the comment section for you guys. It is The Pivot Shop. And I'm making sure that I get it correctly, because guess what? I want you to share this website as well to other individuals that you feel that will be blessed and inspired by this amazing poem as well. So the other location is thepivotshop.com. And let me just tell you guys, I ordered my copy from the Pivot Shop. Stacy recently did a video, and she was talking about this amazing poem. And guys, let me just tell you, I could not get to the website fast enough. And let me just tell you, it is quick, it is easy. You receive a confirmation, all of that good stuff as well. So it is simple. It takes you probably 5 minutes or less to place your order of this amazing poem. And like I said, you will receive a confirmation as well. So again, I'm going to put it on the screen. It is thepivotshop.com, or of course you can go to Stacy's website as well and order you a copy. And like we said, definitely order a copy for yourself and order a copy for a friend as well. Stacy, it has been amazing, my friend, hanging out with you on tonight, and for you to share this beautiful and profound poem with us on today. We are so appreciative of having you here at the cafe. And I want for you to definitely, have the last words of what you want to say to the people on tonight.
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Angela. I am truly honored, and I really appreciate you. I appreciate everyone that joined us tonight. And I guess my last word would be, as you're awaiting the poem, because I do hope you'll order it and be blessed by it, just lean into whatever pivot season you're in. Know that we pivot to grow, we pivot to learn, we pivot to become our best selves, so that we can pour out more of ourselves to others. That's what our purpose is. And so pivoting might take you through some rough seasons, but just know you keep dancing through it, and you're gonna come out with beauty for the ashes and better than before. And I just wish you well. But thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much, Stacy. And of course, as Stacy, we cannot allow you to leave the cafe without sharing with us, how can we stay connected with you?
I would love that. So you can find me on Facebook under my name, Stacy Hawkins Adams. I have 2 pages, either the main page, Stacy Hawkins Adams, or Stacy Inspires. And then I'm on all other platforms, Instagram, TikTok, X, once known as Twitter, all those platforms under Stacy Inspires, Stacy Inspires. So would love to hang out with you there, and love to just get to know you. Thank you.
I love that. Guys, there you have it. Definitely follow her on social media. And let me just tell you, Stacy, she sends out inspirational posts first thing in the morning. You want to watch what you're feeding yourself first thing in the morning. And she has these amazing inspirational posts. So if you follow her, you will receive those as well. And Stacy, on your website, is there a newsletter that they can sign up for on your website as well? Can you tell us about that? Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would love that. So it's my Life Untapped newsletter. You'll find if you follow me on social media, I use a hashtag called Life Untapped. I've used that almost 20 years. And that's just us living fully into who we are, who we're meant to be, and being courageous enough to own who we are and celebrate the power of our own story. So Life Untapped. So yes, if you go to my website, you'll see where you can subscribe to the newsletter. I don't send it out. I won't bombard you. I send it out occasionally. I send out updates about, of course, the poem, if I have any speaking engagements or writing classes coming up. And then, of course, I'm working on a novel, so I keep you updated on what's going on with my books as well.
I love that. And guys, as you can see, I continue to put it on the screen because I want you to go to the you get you a copy of it as well. Thank all of you for hanging out with us on today here at the cafe. With hanging out with Stacy Hawkins Adams and sharing and celebrating with her. We would definitely, like we are sharing with you how you can get your hands on a copy of it. It has been amazing hanging out with you guys on today. Definitely stay in contact. Follow Stacy on social media as well. And guys, as we always say, have an amazing day because we're having an amazing day. And until next time, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. And go get you a copy of The Pivot. Have a great day.